Hello there. I wanted to share with you a tool that will help you with your morning routine. And I have been really dedicated to getting up early in the morning and doing this routine so that I can get my energy in a great place, not just for myself, but also for my clients and for my loved ones. Because what I found is when I don't have this intentional time for myself every single day, I don't feel as grounded or centered. And I feel like the things outside of me and the circumstances outside of me kind of get the best of me when I don't take the time to be in my routine. I find that the morning routine is especially helpful for free spirited types like me who can be resistant to routine and habit forming. And what I mean by that is if you're a free spirit, you're probably the kind of person that you might be good at starting things, but you're not really good at staying consistent with them. And if that is something that you want to change, not just in your morning, but in your whole life, then you need this morning routine because it is a habit that will literally ripple out into every other area of your life if you will commit to it. What I'm going to share with you today is a very simple template to help you go through that morning routine and make sure that you check all the pieces off of it to ensure that you're getting the full benefit of this morning time for yourself. And my recommendation to you is that you get 2 additional things besides this resource. And you don't have to have a journal, but I highly recommend a journal because you're probably not going to want to have to print out one of these pages every day unless you put it in your notebook. One day I'm going to create my own journal and have it all printed out in a journal for you. But until then, get yourself a journal. I said 2 things, really 3 things. A really great pen and then a mirror, because we are going to do some mirror affirmations in our morning routine. So let's jump right into the document. And as we go, I'm going to talk you through some of the pieces that trip people up and freak people out. So no fear there. And give me 1 second to get this document up, and then we will be ready to go here. Okay. I should have had this pulled up earlier. That's my free-spirited side coming out for you guys. This is why I really, really need this morning routine time, is so I can have it together. Okay, there it is. Now I'm going to hit share. And we are going to jump right into the tool. Okay, so I divided it into 4 different sections. And a great place to start, and again, you can print this out and write it. It's super important that you write. Do not try to convert this into some kind of like writable PDF, because there is something magical that happens when you actually use your hands and a pen. We're way too dependent on the keyboards right now in this world, and there's not as much of a brain-body connection when you do that. So print it out and or use it as a guide and just write the things in your journal. So start with the date, and you're going to want to do this. Make a commitment. I would say at least 5 days a week. So Monday through Friday, maybe you take the weekends off. You're probably going to end up doing it every day because you're going to get so much benefit from it. But just start with 5 days a week if that's what feels best for you. Put the date, and then I want you to go straight into your meditation time. You can do this with an app like Headspace, or Insight Timer is my personal favorite. I mean, it has thousands of meditations for free on there, and you can do anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes to 45 minutes. I personally have landed on 20 minutes as the minimum. And any day that I have time, I do 45 minutes. I also love Joe Dispenza's meditations. So you may consider looking some of his meditations up and downloading those. They are a little bit longer, but they're really, really good. Okay, so your meditation. And before you go on your meditation, and in fact, I probably should switch the order of these. Ask yourself, do a little check-in. How do I feel today? on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is like freaking awesome and amazing, and 1 is the opposite of that. And then give the reason for that score. That helps us to just kind of be wherever we are and go through our routine, and then we're going to reevaluate at the end. So after you give yourself a score before the meditation, again, I need to switch that up on my sheet there. Make sure you then go into your meditation 5 to 45 minutes or even longer if you have time to do that, because, oh my gosh, the longer you can do it, the better, the more grounded and tuned in that you will feel. Trust me. From there, once you get out of your meditation, you're going to want to go into your self-love affirmation. And this is where you're going to use your mirror to tell yourself that you love yourself and you forgive yourself. And I know this sounds crazy and hokey and like it's not worth your time. And I've gone back and forth. I've used it really successfully and healed some pretty tough relationships in my life with the mirror. Didn't do it for a while. Things fell apart a little bit. And now I've got my mirror back out and I'm committed. So just 5 minutes looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I love you and I forgive you. You can also get one of those card decks, like spiritual kind of card decks. I love the ones by Louise Hay. I like Gabby Bernstein has some really great decks, Deepak Chopra. So there's some really great cards out there that you can use. And then also, if you want to learn more about mirror work, I suggest this book, Life Loves You by Louise Hay. Oh my goodness. This is a lifesaver of a book. When I was in a really crappy space, I had read this book before, but I pulled it back out. And that's what got me back into the mirror and got me into this very regimented routine and committing to every morning doing a meditation. So I've been doing that for, oh my goodness, 8 months now, and I've seen some pretty drastic changes and results, both on the inside and on the outside of my life. And so have many of my clients. And I will, I've got a testimonial around here I want to read you from one of my clients who was super resistant to the morning routine, but finally agreed to do it and is getting some really good results from it. So after you meditate and do your self-love mirror work, do not skip the mirror work. I know that you're already thinking, I'm just going to skip the mirror work because it's uncomfortable and I don't really want to do all that self-love bullshit. You got to do the mirror work. You got to get into your heart for this, and you got to find that sense of self-love and that healthy confidence in yourself before you move forward. So after that, it's gratitude time. 10 things you're grateful for. And do your best to not just repeat the same stuff over and over again. And if you really want to knock it to the next level, you can say why you're grateful for those things. And that will amp up the emotion and the energy around it. And you will be really, really glad that you did, because you'll get to the end of that gratitude list and you'll be like, oh my gosh, my life is freaking awesome. Why did I ever think that things were not going well for me? Because we have such a lack mindset and we get pulled into it. All the shit going on in the world makes us forget how great our life is. And let me just tell you, if you can't think of anything to be grateful for today, be grateful for your breath. And then when you get there and you say, I'm grateful for my breath, it will start this upward spiral of you thinking of all these other things you're grateful for. Oh my gosh, I'm also really grateful for my home. It's such a warm and cozy place. I'm so grateful for my yard. It's really awesome that my kids can play out in my yard. Oh my gosh, I love the work that I do and the people that I get to work with. Wow, upward spiral. So gratitude is next on your list. From there, messages from your intuition. This is so cool. I just started doing this probably 3 or 4 months ago. And what I realized when I was meditating and doing gratitude is I would have these like little tidbits drop. They seemed like out of nowhere. These ideas come into my head, these gut instincts kind of pushing me forward. And so I decided, okay, I'm just going to start writing to my intuition. And my good friend, Betsy Paik, also taught me about this and how it really helped to amp up her morning routine. And I was like, I am totally in. So the question I ask myself is, what will you have me know today? You can see that down there at the bottom. and then I will just write. Just write. And it's pretty powerful what messages will come through if you'll just be in that tuned in space. And you may get some more messages throughout your day as well, but this is a really good place to start. And then finally, what I have over on the last bottom right side is the top to-dos, because what will happen as you're journaling and probably as you're meditating too, is you'll think of things that you need to get done in the day. So just jot them down here just to get them out of your mind and onto paper. I don't want you to necessarily like spend a lot of time there unless you have time to spare at the end and you want to like write down maybe like the top 3 things that you want to accomplish for the day. That's a really good use of that last, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of time that you have. Okay, so the to-dos, it's possible that nothing is going to be there. I doubt it, but it is possible that, you just don't want to go there in your morning quiet time, and that's fine. So the next thing I want you to do is wrap up your routine by asking yourself, how do I feel now? Scale of 1 to 10, 1, not so good, 10, freaking amazing. And then the primary reason for that score. And one of the reasons for the score might just be that you have spent this time with yourself, aligning your energy, which is always an awesome way to start your day. It is absolutely life-changing. So I wanted to tell you really quickly about my client who has been doing this morning routine for, it's only been 3 weeks. The two of us were working together for several months and nothing was changing for her. And I was starting to get really frustrated as her coach and pretty much just said, hey, if you want to change, you got to start taking action. And so she agreed and said, okay, what can I do? I was like, you know what? You're having a hard time getting started with anything. So I just want you to get up in the morning and do the routine. And she picked out the things she wanted to do. So she's meditating and journaling. And then for her, she's wanted to learn Spanish. So she's doing the Duolingo app in the morning too, which is a really cool way to start the day. Well, it's only been like 2-3 weeks maybe. And she sent me an email to let me know, oh my goodness, so many things have changed in her life. First and foremost, she says she has an abundant mindset. So whereas before she would shut things down because she'd be like, oh, we can't afford to remodel our bathroom, or I don't think we'd ever be able to afford a minivan. Now she's actually daydreaming about those things, which is a very powerful way to invite new things into your life. It's to daydream about them. And she said before she wouldn't even allow her mind to wander and even go to those places. But because of the morning routine, she is now doing that. Then she said she just feels this sense of calm, and she described it as calm like she's never felt before. She puts space in between her thoughts and her reactions. She feels more centered with the people that she's with, both in her family and at work. And I'll tell you, one of her direct reports came to me and said, what is she doing? Because she's like a totally different person. And because of what she was doing, now this person is into the morning routine. So that is the ripple effect, my friends. Wow, it's pretty impactful when you start doing something and other people notice it, and then you can share that great stuff with them, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. This has certainly changed my life in ways that I would have never expected. And then finally, she said she just feels so much more grateful. And that comes from the gratitude practice and just really getting quiet and tuning in, because we are so loved and so surrounded by many, many wonderful, amazing things that we just take for granted. And so when you get into this gratitude practice, like my client did, you start to see a lot more things in your life to be grateful for, and you get pretty creative with that gratitude list. So that is it. That is the whole of the tool. If you are not a morning person, first and foremost, I want you to reconsider the story there, because you're just telling yourself that, and you've told yourself it so many times that it's become a belief. If you're absolutely averse to the mornings, then find another time during the day. I would give yourself an hour if you can give yourself an hour, but if you can't do an hour, anything is better than nothing. So 30 minutes is okay. And if you can't do 30 minutes, I want you to do 10 minutes, and I only want you to do the gratitude part. So tailor it to be what it can be for you now. And then slowly, I promise you, it's just like with this client. She's like, I'm doing 5 days a week. Now she's wanting to do it on the weekend because she's getting the reward for that. She feels so much different and so much better on the inside, and things are starting to shift for her on the outside as well. So start where you can. If you'd rather do it at night, that's fine. I just think that when we wake up, we're fresh. It's like a rebirth. And if you can like cut your alarm off and go straight into this, don't look at your phone. Don't give your energy to anybody else. And also, typically at the early morning hour, there's not anybody else in your house that's awake. No one's going to call you. You're not going to get any notifications on your phone. So it's just an awesome time for you to connect with yourself and align your energy. Another person asked me recently, like, what's the goal of this? Like, is it to be more productive and get more shit done? Because I feel like that's kind of what's wrong with the world, and especially America. It's like people are just like, go, 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 and rush, rush, rush. And I was like, for me, it's about inner peace and calm and joy and having just time with me and with the divine. So I haven't mentioned anything about the spiritual aspect of this or the God aspect of this, but that is absolutely part of it. Sometimes I add prayer into this practice. If you're a praying person, it's a great time to ask. I use angel card decks. I invite in my angels and higher spirits because this is a spiritual practice as well. And that really kind of comes in with that whole intuition piece. But no, I don't think it's necessarily, the intention is not necessarily to get things more done. However, I've noticed that I do get a lot more done. And that is because when you set a morning routine, you're creating what is known as a keystone habit. And I recently reread the book, The Power of Habit. Super great book. And it reminded me why we want to have habits in our lives, because everything becomes habitual eventually. We hardwire everything in our brains, new experiences. If we're going to keep repeating them, they become habits and they become hardwired. And if we want to be our best selves and change different things in our lives, we have to figure out how to routinize things. So I invite you to try this out. Give yourself a few weeks, and I really feel like the rewards will pay for themselves, and you're probably going to want to do more. So there you have it. There's a place where you can download this document. Feel free to share with other people. It's yours, and definitely reach out to me via email, adair@adairkates, if you have questions. And another thing you can add to the routine is my morning podcast, The Morning Light Show. It comes out 5 days a week. It's a 10 to 15 minute gear up for the day to feel great podcast that a lot of people like to listen to in the car on their way to work, or as they're drinking their coffee after they do their morning routine. So check that out as well. And I hope this tool is helpful for you and that you can get this foundational routine down and have it start to ripple out into your life, because it's certainly happened with me, and I certainly see it happening with my coaching clients as well. All right. Thank you for listening. Bye.